Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Fab News. I have a treat for you today. I have in the back of the studio who is waiting to come on very shortly with me. It is one of our candidates who will be coming on and talking about her platform for the next probate judge. That is, and I'm going to bring her on. So do me a favor, if you will. Won't you call a friend, call a neighbor, tell somebody that Fab News is on, and we have a candidate with us today who will actually be on, and they're going to certainly share with us all of the great things that they have in store and vision that they have for the Florence County probate judge seat. So what I'm going to do now, I am going to bring her on in the studio. Hello, Miss Graham. How are you doing today?
Hello there, Pastor Moultrie. How are you? I am doing well. Thank you.
I am blessed. Thank you so much, first of all, for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and share with the viewers who you are and your platform. And so, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to just release the flow to you and let you just tell your viewers who you are, and then we'll get back to you.
Well, thank you very much. It is absolutely an honor and a privilege to be on Fab News today. And I would like to say thank you to you for this opportunity to share with Florence and the areas beyond about myself as well as running for the probate court judge seat. My name is Chandra Graham. I am a native of Florence, South Carolina, and I am the Democratic candidate running for probate court judge in this November 8th election. For those of you that may not know what probate court handles, probate court is the judicial arm that handles and oversees decedents' estates. But not only do they oversee decedents' estates, probate court is also the court that issues marriage licenses, in addition to involuntary commitments for those that may have drug and alcohol abuse, as well as mental health illness. And then on the other arm of that as well is guardian and conservatorship for those individuals where someone needs to be appointed to make decisions about whether it's an adult or a child, their health, or their financial aspect. So probate court, this particular judgeship, though, it covers all of Florence County, the whole entire county. So if you have family, if you have friends that live in Florence, Johnsonville, Lake City, Scranton, Coward, Atlanta, Pamplico, Timmonsville, and Quimby, I will be on their ballot this coming November the 8th for this particular election. But this judgeship does cover all of Florence County, and we are seeking to serve the people of Florence County. And as we move forward, we've been campaigning hard, and we will continue to do forth as November the 8th fastly approaches us.
So I think there is a question, and this is a question that I need you to answer for me and the viewers, and maybe you could help us get a better understanding of it. I have always been under the impression that in order to be a judge, you have to be an attorney. Now, I want to get a clear understanding because you are not an attorney and you're running for this seat. So help us understand a little better in terms of that, because I think we need some clarity there.
I certainly agree. We do. And thank you for bringing that up. This particular judgeship in the state of South Carolina does not require one to be a lawyer or hold a Juris Doctorate degree. As a matter of fact, when I looked and did my study on all of the 46 judges, probate judges that serve in Florence County, less than half, according to the judicial state South Carolina judicial website, less than half of those judges are actually practicing attorneys. Many of them came right from their homes as homemakers, working in plants, working in the school system, working in various other career areas, and then decided to move into probate court, or maybe they worked in probate court for many years. But in the state of South Carolina, this judgeship does not require one to hold a law degree. However, it does require one to have some form of education, as well as having probate experience does make a difference, but also the willingness to work hard, because probate court, there's a lot of work there. People don't think there is, but there's a lot of work in probate court. You're constantly dealing with the public because you are public servants and you serve the public. You're dealing with them on so many various levels, whether it's someone coming in on the happy end, I like to say, applying for a marriage license, or whether you're having to sit across right directly from someone that has lost a loved one and they're going through their stages of grief, and you're having to hold their hand and walk them through the process. So no, it does not require, to answer your question, it does not require one to hold a law degree to actually serve in this judgeship. However, there are in South Carolina some judgeships that do.
So there is something that I learned, and maybe you can help me and the viewers out. I think everybody knows the Murdoch case, and it has made news history, South Carolina. It has put South Carolina on the map. Okay. So one of the things that I have found is, man, probate court, from following news, is one of the biggest scam there is. And so people have to make sure that they have the right person in judgeship, because they handle all of your loved one's estate. And many times what I found is, just we can see in that case, the old buddy system caused some things to slip through the crack. So help us understand that a little better, in terms of what does probate does in terms of a loved one. I think the people need to understand, because I'll be honest with you, and I'm just learning this from getting in the news, Ms. Graham. I used to always thought, when you hear probate code, oh, me and my wife went and got a license. I mean, that's it. I didn't hear, most of us, let's just face the reality. Most of us, our parents, man, they just leave us the land or the house, and that's the end of that, But I understand the probate is the one who decides who gets the property.
Well, let me explain that to you, and I'm glad you brought that up. When we think about, and I followed the Murdoch case some, but not to the whole letter. Reason why? Because most of the times when you see a family such as the Murdochs that have such an exorbitant amount of wealth, most of the times you will see those individuals set up trust. And trust are private, where probate is public. And so most of the information that goes through and the assets that are being handled are being handled through a trust. So very little will come through probate and on that end, unless there is something that needs to be done with that trust, whether there needs to be a modification to the trust, whether there's something that needs to be changed, or whether there's something that maybe a trustee needs to be removed, then it will come through probate up under the auspice or the directive of probate for that very reason. But when we think about probate court, and when we think about family members and loved ones, probate court, again, is the judicial arm to make sure assets are transferred to the deceased loved ones as according to the law. Well, first and foremost, let's say that John Doe died with a will. If John Doe died with a will, well, then John Doe will states how he wants his assets to be distributed. And the court is to make sure that those assets are distributed according to the will. Well, then there's Jane Doe, maybe Jane, who is not related to John Doe, but maybe Jane also died, but Jane died without a will, and that's what we call intestate. With a will is called testate, without a will is called intestate. So if Jane Doe died without a will, then the court comes in according to what we call the law of intestacy, that will tell the court there's already a setup as to how assets will transfer to the decedent's loved ones. So it makes a difference if that person that died, if Jane was married, then according to the law, there's a portion that would go to that living spouse. And then if there are children, then there's a portion that would go to the children. But it also makes a difference when we're talking about probate court. It makes a difference as to how deeds are written. If deeds are written in a certain way, then certain deeds, property will pass directly by probate and won't even come in or under probate. So that there's a difference there in how that is done. And we like to tell folk, possibly go see an attorney or someone that can help you. That if you choose, if you would not like for your property to go through probate, then you would certainly need to have someone to work with you on that. But oftentimes what we see from a probate standpoint, property does go to the loved ones, but we ask loved ones and we encourage loved ones that as you inherit these assets, inherit this property, make sure that the property that you are inheriting is actually is taken care of. Some people may choose, and once it's in their name, they can literally choose to do with it what they want to. But oftentimes, the misconception about property or when someone dies is that if they continue paying the taxes, don't go through probate, but if you continue paying the taxes, the misconception is that if I continue to pay taxes on a piece of property, after a period of time, that property automatically transfers to that individual that has been paying taxes, and forget about all the other heirs that are there. That is not true. And that's the misconception that we find often, where people come in, well, I've been paying the taxes all these years. What you have done is simply, and it's a good thing that you pay the taxes, because you don't want the taxes to be sold or the property to be sold in a tax sale. So you want to make sure that taxes are paid on property.
Good deal. So tell me, I understand, you have your experience, because I heard you say you don't have to be a lawyer, but you got to have the experience. So tell me and the viewers, what experience do you bring to the probate?
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to share that. And yes, I do have experience. I worked in probate court for 8 years. And the first 2 years in probate court, I was a case manager, or what we call a caseworker at state administration. But also under that auspice, I also did marriage licenses while I was there, actually learning the process, or learning some aspects about mental health and the mental health component side with the filing, as well as with the guardian and conservatorship. After being in there for 2 years, I was promoted to clerk of probate court, which was actually the pretty much like the assistant to the judge, but also right under the associate judge. And in those capacities, serving in probate court, I would say probate court is a hands-on court. What do I mean about that? Probate court, you actually have to have your hands in the work to understand the work. So there was one-on-one collaboration with families that came in, that you worked with them. Not only that, from issuing marriage licenses, but making sure that office function in the way that it should function, building relationships with title workers, abstractors, with attorneys, with citizens that come into the probate court office. So that 8 years gave me plenty of insight to the functions and the intricacies of probate court and how to run that office. And Florence County, when you go into probate court, because probate court is not an office that anyone desires to go. However, if you must, I like to make sure that when an individual leaves out of probate court, they are armed, they left there with more information, and realize as they walk out of our doors, they know that there's some things that need to be done to put in place.
So another question I want to ask you is, I hear you said something, and I got to tell you this. As a pastor, I hear people say it all the time, and I learned something today that I'm going to share with my people. I just thought, I guess, man, we own a few rental properties. Mm-hmm. So I automatically thought, in most of those rental properties, we acquire them by paying taxes on people's property who neglect to pay their taxes. So you just taught me something. I mean, so a family member of what you're saying cannot acquire property. And I don't want to get into the legal part of it because I know you're not here for that. But I think they need to understand that they can't do that. But this is the point I want to make. So if you are selected as the probate court, would you be in a position where you can have some forms maybe with churches or people and just inform us so that we won't be misinformed?
There is so much education that needs to be done on the end of probate court, and not only just probate court, financial management, and also estate planning. And that question has come up in several of my sessions, talking with various ones in the community. And that is something we would love to see. As a matter of fact, churches are even starting to take on that mantle and that responsibility of educating their church family as well as the community about the importance of probate court, the importance of having a will. And just getting back to the question that you mentioned earlier, what I do want to make sure I understand, and that there's some clarity, that when a probate estate is open through the administration of probate court, it is important for citizens to understand, to complete the probate process. Sometimes it may take longer than others, depending on how many family members are involved, depending on how much property is involved. But what we don't want to see, or what's as important that we what we've seen a misconception of, is that people think they don't have to go through probate court to transfer assets when a person has passed. What they just like to continue to do is just pay the taxes, pay the taxes, pay the taxes. And yes, that is important, paying the taxes, but you still have to go through probate court in order to get those assets transferred the legal way.
Okay. Well, that's it for me, unless I want you to just share with them. As you share with them, I am sharing your flyer on the screen.
Thank you very much.
Viewers, you will see the flyer on the screen here, and this flyer is telling you when to go out and vote. Vote Tuesday, November the 8th. But early voting, let's talk about early
Absolutely.
voting.
Early voting.
When is early voting? Tell them about early voting.
Early voting starts October the 24th through November the 5th. And we encourage, go out, early vote, early vote, early vote. And also for those that they normally do absentee ballots. Absentee ballots are being done right now. So we want you to take advantage. If you are one that normally do absentee ballots, we encourage you to do so now. And we ask, I have a challenge that's going forward, and it is each one reach one. And most of the times we can reach more than one, but we're asking you to take family, to take friends, get them to the polls, reach out to us, connect with someone. This is midterm, and statistically proven, midterm elections don't turn out in larger numbers. So we're asking, let's change that myth. Let's change it and make it a reality that people will get individuals to the poll. Why? Because your vote counts, your vote matters, and your vote is your voice.
Also, I will tell you this: as we get ready to go in the next few days, we will be talking about election, and we will be talking about how the president is picked. Many people, I think, they don't even realize the midterm election is really far more. Don't get me wrong; the president election is important. But the midterm, who you pick on your local level, has a whole lot to do what color your state is, has a whole lot to do with whether or not the president is going to win the state or whether or not the candidate is not going to win the state. And so the midterm is important. I know in North Carolina, I would like to see this, man. In North Carolina, I pastor in North Carolina, and they have what they call Souls to the Poll. So this Sunday, we're taking all of our churches to the poll. Several pastors are getting together, taking them to the poll. We're giving them something to eat, but we're going to get them to the poll because I think that's important. Now, I want to talk about this because I learned something, and you don't have to disclose it because not that it matters, but I think it does matter because it matters with integrity. I understand you're a minister.
I am. I am.
Would you like to talk about that? Tell us a little
Well, God is good. I am. I served as associate pastor at my home church, Maxwell Baptist Church, in Florence for 10 plus years, served in leadership for nearly 20 plus years or more. So I am a licensed ordained minister. So part of what I do is from a servanthood heart, serving the people, whether it's on the spiritual level, the relational level, whether it's in the community, it is who I am. Loving people, loving on people, being there for people. My mother often said something when we were growing up, and what she would say is, don't be the one to always take, be one to give back. And in essence, that is what life is about. It is about giving back. We can't be always the one having our hands out. So that is the life that we've always lived. If you came to our home, if we ate, you ate. The neighborhood kids, if we had a place to lay our heads, you had a place to lay our heads. So that mentality, that lifestyle, that motto is what follows me today, being able to help someone that's in need.
Good. So I'm going to let you follow up as I put this on the board. You could tell us, tell them whatever you want to tell them before we leave.
Listen, Facebook viewers, YouTube, I am Chandra Graham, and at the polls on November the 8th, or even if you go before then to early voting, I ask for your vote. I ask for your support as you go out and elect me as the next probate judge of Florence County. And if the people of Florence County will elect me, I promise, I pledge to return accountability, stability, commitment, and service to the office of probate judge of Florence County. For I am for the people, with the people, and I am certainly ready to serve the people. Thank you.
Okay. Well, again, Ms. Graham, I want to thank you so much. Before you go, I have to disclose this little piece because I don't want anybody to understand this or misconstrue this.
Absolutely.
So let me help you understand. Fab News does not endorse a candidate. We cannot disclose who we support.
Absolutely.
We are a news channel that is fair to the Democratic, to the Republican, to the Independent, to everybody. And so I want to just share that because I don't want anyone to leave here today to say Fab News endorsed Ms. Graham. We do not endorse a candidate.
Absolutely.
And I need to say this. This interview was by my choice and not Ms. Graham's, and it was not paid for. Nobody gave me any money. So thank you so much, Ms. Graham. And I wish you much success in your campaign endeavor. You take care.
Thank you once again, Pastor Moultrie, and thank you, Fab News, for this opportunity. Have a blessed day.
All right.
Thank you.